Happy Monday, everybody, or whatever day you're watching this video. We're gonna have a budget deck discussion. Let's look at decks that are below 5,000 dust. Let's look at the meta. Let's look at win rates above 50%. Let's look at bronze through gold. This is a budget deck video, okay? So let's go over the win rates right now. The mini set just came out, and this was like, what, 4 or 5 days now. They also did the nerf to Bran and with Saddle Up, and look at the win rates. Right now, Paladin is way up there. Paladin's a little broken right now. The great news is, if you're a budget player, it's good for you. Warlock is also creeping up. Warlock has got some nutty stuff. There's a couple of cards that really feel like they should be nerfed, maybe not been commons or rares. These are some nutty cards in the mini set. Hunter's still strong and stable. Mage is creeping up as well. Listen, Mage is number 4 right now. I think it's going to be better. I think the deck is not refined yet. The Spell Mage deck, we're going to get into that deck. And then look, there's Death Knight Warrior. Warrior's not as broken as it looks like right here. Bran nerf didn't really change the win rates too much. It just changed the play rate drastically. So let's go over some of the classes right now. So this is from Dr. Boom's Incredible Inventions launch. This is just a few days now. Bronze through gold, all regions. Death Knight has Plague, Handbuff, and Rainbow. We're gonna talk about Handbuff. Handbuff is pretty cheap. It's pretty good. It's got some strong synergies there. Demon Hunter only has Shopper. Really, the rest is just, look at this. Aggro Demon Hunter at 26%. Don't play Aggro Demon Hunter in Bronze through Gold, because it's not going to work for you too well. Druid is just, look at how many Druid decks. Dragon, Hybrid, Highlander, you name it. Treant Druid. I thought Treant Druid would be coming back. Let's go look at Hunter. Hunter's got many things. They got Spells, Secret, Highlander, Mage. Mage was doing terrible for a while there. Spell Mage is coming up. Elemental Mage is coming up. The win rates are pretty high. I think there's more refinement to be made. There will be some fun stuff that we will see. And then Paladin is just doing Paladin things. Paladin is like, hey, listen, we're just going to keep on going and keep on going and keep on going. It's like they're making cards just that say Battlecry, win game. That's all it is. It's busted right now. Priest has, Zarimi, and then Highlander's trying to make some movements here. It's at 49.9%. If you do have the Highlander Priest cards, I would play it, because that's not bad of a win rate to just eke out wins here and there. And then Rogue is Mining Rogue and Miracle Rogue. There's a Sonya Rogue. It says it's low win rates, but I don't think so. We're going to talk about that, and I think it's going to be good for you. Sonya Rogue is pretty powerful. It's got some fun things to do with it. Shaman has Highlander. Shaman has Elemental. Warlock is just gross. Pain, Sludge, Insanity, Mining, you name it, they've got it. And then look, Highlander Warrior right here is at 58.6%. Like I said, I don't think the brand nerf, thank goodness, changed the win rates. I think it just changed how many how many games are being played with this. It's at a 4.7% popularity. It has gone down. It's not as crazy, but it's still a good deck. So we're going to go into 3 decks today. That'll help you. They're all below 5,000 dust, like I said. The first one we're going to talk about is Spell Mage. And Spell Mage is at 1,960 dust. Let's see if it gives us win rates. Yes, 59.4%. This is good. And the deck has a lot of options here. You can remove, you can take out. So let's go over some of the cards. We got Flame Geyser. We know what this does. It's a spell that not only it's a spell, it gives you an elemental. It helps you with the whole other synergies of where this doesn't have any minions. So Cosmic Keyboard. This card is a good, strong, absolutely valuable card if you are a mage and you do not have any minions, because it'll just keep on throwing minions out. I wouldn't play it turn 2. I would play it a little bit longer so you have some minions that stay on board, but that's just me. Frostbolt. Deal 3 damage to a character in Freezer. You know what this does. I'm not worried too much about the 3 damage to the character. I'm worried about freezing this thing. And you have 2 of them. So you got some crazy heavy minions on the board. Just go ahead and freeze them. Heat Wave. Deal 2 damage to an enemy minion and its neighbors. Quick draws to all enemies instead. Don't keep this in your mulligan. make sure you get rid of this so you can draw it immediately, so you get that quick draw synergy. There's Malfunction. Now, Malfunction is one of the new cards from the mini set, and it is very good. Deal 3 damage split among all enemy minions. If your deck has no minions, deal 3 more. So 6 damage for 2 mana, and you have 2 of them. This makes sense. Primordial Glyph, discover a spell, reduce its cost by 2. There's just only upsides to this. Yes, you'll have to discover. You might not get what you want. You might not get anything that you want, but with Mage, you get something good at least. Stargazing, draw a different arcane spell. If you play it this turn, it casts twice. So wait until turn 4, turn 5, turn 6 if you can to get that double cast off. You know, some of these spells are not too expensive, but just in case. The most expensive spell is Manufacturing Error. We'll get into that. Void Scripture. Discover a spell. If you have enough mana to play it, cast a copy of it at a random enemy. That's beautiful. That's beautiful right there. You have 2 of those. You have Elemental Companion. Summon a random Elemental Companion. This is a good spell. It's a very strong spell, especially if you need minions on board. There's Light Show. Light Show is very strong. Shoot 2 beams at enemies. Each deal 2 damage. And then you have 2 of them, so the next one will be even more. Okay, Molten Rune. We've talked about Molten Rune probably about 278 times. Make sure you forge it. It casts twice. Great spell for only 3 mana, even though you have to do the forge cost. Reverberations. This card is awesome, and I love it. And I get annoyed when I'm playing against it, but listen, you're going to summon a copy of whatever minion your opponent's facing, and then each one dies after taking damage. So use that with your hero power ping, and then boom, whatever was on your opponent's board is now no longer on your opponent's board, and maybe you have something you can use a little bit better. Listen, Fireball, we know what Fireball is. Deal 6 damage. It's strong. It's 4 mana. Spot the difference. Discover a 3-cost minion to summon. If your deck has no minions, repeat this. So some minions on board. Some of them are good, some of them are not so good. Your mileage is absolutely going to vary because this is Discover and that's random. Manufacturing Error, draw 3 cards. If your deck has no minions, they cost 3 less. So card draw, and they're cheaper, and it's good, especially since the highest cost card in this deck is 5 mana, and it's the card you're looking at now. So this is good, and like I said, there's some things that you can change up. You could sit there and you could remove the Heat Wave, and you could remove Reverberations and add that Frost Lich cross stitch in there. You could sit there and you can maneuver out Malfunction. I don't know why anybody would want to maneuver out Malfunction for Frost Lich cross stitch, but these are just options there, and all of these options are below 5,000 dust, which is what we want. And again, thanks to HS Replay for all of this amazing data that makes my life much, much easier. Let's get into the next deck. Sonya Rogue. This one is coming up strong. It's at 5,000 dust. The win rate is at 59% bronze through gold, and there's some crazy stuff that you can happen with this. So the essential part of Sonya Rogue is this. Your weapon, Spectral Cutlass, is going to do some crazy, heavy, ultra mega damage with the combos that are out there. First up, you got Preparation. We know what Preparation does. You want a cheaper spell. Your next spell you cast costs 2 less. We got Shadow Step. Everybody loves this card. Maybe the ones that are playing it love the card. The ones that are playing against it don't love this card. It's just going to throw a minion that you have back to your hand, and it costs 2 less. Deadly Poison is the name of the game. Deadly Poison is give your weapon +2 attack. You're going to want to use these later on when you have Sonya out. Stick up. Discover a quick draw card from another class. You definitely want cards from another class. You have Tarslick. Minions take double damage this turn. Deal 1 damage. This will be important. Valera's Gift. Discover a temporary backstab, Deadly Poison, or Fan of Knives. You will probably want the Deadly Poison. The idea of this is going to be with Sonya. Fan of Knives, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions, draw a card. This is a great card for 2 mana, even though it's it's, you know, even though it's giving you a card that you might not use right then and there, it's the deal damage to all minions. Harmonic Hip Hop, deal 1 damage, give your weapon +3 attack, and it swaps 3 turns. Each turn, you might need to swap this out depending on what you want. It could either do 3 damage, and then your weapon +1 attack, what have you. You just want to work on getting that weapon up as much as possible. Instrument Tech, if you need to draw your weapon and you haven't been able to draw your weapon, here you go. Battle Cry, draw a weapon. Catchamite Creation, discover a spell from another class that costs 3 or less. We talked about this. We want more spells. Discover a spell from another class. Get a copy of it. We want these. Mic Drop, draw 2 cards. The finale is give your weapon +2 attack. Are we sensing some sort of issue here, or are we sensing some sort of weapon situation here? You want to get the weapon up as much as possible. So, Sweet and Snow Flurry, Miniature Eyes, Battle Frag, get 2 random temporary frost spells. You're going to want this. Velorock is also very, very strong. When this is in your hand, play a card from another class to reveal Velorock's true form, and then Velorock does some crazy busted stuff. Sonya is the name of the game here. After you play a 1-cost card, get a copy of it that costs 0. So you get this out when you have your weapon, when your weapon is strong by using deadly poison or what have you. When you sit there and you play those 1-cost cards, they'll get another one that's 0. So you're going to do this, and then you use Shadow Step to put Sonya back in hand. And then you just do this again next turn. Remember, it's all about the weapon. So if you're not grabbing the weapon, if you're not finding the weapon, if your opponent is killing your weapon, it's going to be more difficult, but this is strong. Do I think this is the perfect deck for this yet? No, I think there's probably a little bit of refinement that could be made, but this is going to be a strong deck. In my opinion, absolutely. Is there anything there? There's no similar decks, so you can't switch some stuff around. This is a great opportunity for you to mess around with the Rogue class if you haven't done so before. Next up, we're going to talk about Handbuff Death Knight. This one has quite a few variations for this. This one specifically is 3,920 dust, and there's going to be some crazy stuff with this. So the idea is everything in your hand, you want it to get bigger so you can throw out some crazy stuff. So listen, you have Maw and Paw, which is going to get you some corpses. You have Nerubian Swarm Guard, which summon 2 copies of this minion. You want this in your hand. You want to keep this in your hand as much as possible because look, Amateur Puppeteer is a great card, and what it does is it gives the minions, the undead in your hand, +2/+2. Soul Stealer is going to go ahead and add corpses that you can mess around with, and you definitely want to grab corpses, okay? So Stitch Giant costs 1 less for each corpse you've spent this game, so you want these as low as possible. So you throw these minions in your hand, you use the Lesser Spell Stone, you use Amateur Puppeteer, you've got Blood Tap. These are all just trying to buff your minions out in your hand to make them as strong as possible for the later turns when these are just impossible to kill minions. You've got Mining Casualties, so you get some early game, throw them up on the board, get some corpses going, if you will. You have Shambling Zombie Tank because you want to get those corpses in line so you can have 2 of these and make sure you're buffing these in hand. You got Acolyte of Death in case you need to draw cards. You will be able to get a bunch of minions. Acolyte of Death plus like Mining Casualties or the Hero Power gives you a couple of things. Chill Fallen Baron is just card draw. We know about that. Harmonic Metal, 4 random minions in your hand +2/+2, or 2 random minions +4/+4, depending what turn you're swapping this out. You've got Soulbreaker. After your hero attacks and kills a minion, gain 2 corpses. We want corpses, obviously. We talked about it. This one right here, we want to buff as well, because this will also give you the ability to kill out some of your opponent's minions by just having, how much this minion's attack is going to hit all those enemy minions. We talked about that one. Headless Horseman is good, because Headless Horseman is going to give you not only the ability to do 3 damage to minions or what have you, but it also, when you find the head from the Headless Horseman, it'll let you make another minion that you could just buff up after it's in your hand. Crazy stuff. And then listen, Soul Stealer. I think this is a very, very broken card. It's been broken for a long time because it's just so easy for 8 mana to just wipe out the board. Yes, it's going to kill all of your minions, but there's a possibility that you don't need to put minions out right now. If you got a crazy hand, crazy board that your opponent has, just do this and just wipe them all out. So there are several decks that are using this Handbuff Death Knight. There's a rainbow version. There's a couple of pieces that have been changed. There's ones in there that have the Primus in here. There's ones in here that have the one minion that does all of the hit your death rattles twice. You can make some crazy boards by just buffing up these minions. But this one is 3,920 dust. It's a pretty good deck. It's very easy to pilot. That's good. And if you're looking at what to play in terms of all of the cards right now, all of the decks right now for Death Knight, as a budget player, those are the cheapest decks that you could be playing right now. So give this one a shot as well. Remember, all the deck codes are below. Let's go over the mini set cards. And I wanted to talk about this. Listen, it's only been a couple of days. It hasn't been anything crazy, but I just want to look at the percentage of cards and talk about some of these cards. I think the most broken card of the mini set is Infernal. Infernal, you can put 2 of these in your deck, and look at this. It's a taunt, it's a 6/6, it's only 4 mana, and set your hero's remaining health to 15. There's a Pain Warlock deck that uses this that is just, it's pretty impossible. You're never going to lose health whatsoever. Yes, you're going to lose health, but you're never going to be out of health because this card is crazy and it's a taunt. So your opponent has to get rid of the taunt after you've just raised up your health. So name of the game with Warlock is doing damage to itself, and this just helps you just keep going. Product 9 is going to be very good for Secret Hunter. Secret Hunter, we saw a few minutes ago that it was one of the stronger decks in the meta right now. It is a great card. And look, the next one we're going to talk about, Toy Snatching Geist. This one's huge. The Gigantify version of this is even better, especially if you're using it from a hand buff. So if you wanted to throw an undead in your hand buff Death Knight and you have the new mini set cards, throw Toy Snatching Geist. I've used it several times now, and it's been crazy good. Puppet Master Dorian, I don't think we have the right setup for this yet. I don't think that this has found the right deck yet. There's some outliers. You see some things on social media where there's some crazy cool board swings or what have you. I just don't think the right deck has been found yet. And then look, Safety Expert, it says it's been played a lot, but a lot of people are saying that the only thing good with Warrior right now is still the Highlander Warrior, especially if you put Bran in it or what have you. But there's not a lot of impact on this mini set. This mini set has not been the be-all, end-all. It hasn't really changed the game too much. Some people are saying that, this is the weakest mini set so far of a long time now. Listen, for 100 people in the room, 50 are going to say they hate it, 50 are going to say they like it, so your mileage may vary there. I think there's some fun cards in here. I think there's some cards that I know won't see play, and that's every set that comes out. There's some cards that don't see play. Again, thanks to HS Replay for all this great data. If you like what I'm doing, please like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you in the next video.